الله الرحمن الرحيم. الحمد لله رب العالمين، والصلاة والسلام على سيدنا محمد الفاتح الخاتم وعلى آله حق الإمداد العظيم. Assalamu alaikum. Good evening, everyone. In the name of Allah, the most compassionate, the most merciful, all praise is due to the Almighty Allah, the Lord of the universe, the most compassionate, the most merciful, the sovereign of the day of judgment. You alone we worship, and from you alone we implore help. Guide us to the straight path, the path of those whom you have favored, neither of those who have incurred your wrath, nor of those who have gone astray. O Allah, maintain your praise persistently upon our chief and master Muhammad, the key to that which is closed, the seal to that which is past, the upholder of the truth by the means of truth, the proper guide to your straight path, and open his family according to his eminence and his great honor. Assalamu alaikum. Once again, good evening, everyone. I am back on my series of lectures on the topic, the Divine Mandate series. If you can remember, in the last session, we were still discussing the history of Prophet Noah, how he preached to his people, and how they rejected his message, how he stayed among them for a period of 1,000 years less 50, and now eventually they were destroyed by the Almighty Allah, and how, having had his prayers accepted by the Almighty Allah, and he was delivered along with his people, and he went to converse in communion with God so as to show his gratitude for the destruction of his enemies, that is the unbelievers who rejected the message, and also to thank the Almighty Allah for the fact that he was delivered. And the Almighty Allah told him that although he made an inquiry, he inquired to know how, that is the wisdom behind destroying his child. That's why we can detect this from the manner of question he raised. That is from the kind of question he raised. He said, Rabbi, inna ibni min ahli, wa inna wa'adaka al-haqqu, wa anta ahkamul hakimin. Certainly my child is part of my family, and your promise is quite true. And you are the best of all judges, and you are the best of all those who show wisdom. So definitely there must be some wisdom behind destroying his child. And that is how the Almighty Allah revealed to him that that child constitutes no part of his family, for the fact that he was not a living son. He strayed from the right path. He rejected the message of the Father, so he lost his entitlement to belonging to that great family. And though biologically he is, but morally and spiritually he is not. And eventually the Almighty Allah narrated to us that not long after Prophet Noah, another prophet was raised and dispatched. Who was that prophet? And to which nation was he dispatched? And what was the mission? And what was the attitude of his people? Did the narrative change? That is, if compared with that of Prophet Noah. So it is an established custom in the Holy Quran that whenever there is a narrative of the stories of prophets, prophethood used to come immediately after Prophet Noah alayhi salam. prophethood was sent to his people, that is the Arab of Yemen. He was the first Arab prophet. He was the first ever to be dispatched to Arab nations in Yemen. And they were the first nation recognized by the history of humanity after the Great Flood. After the Great Flood, the people of Noah, the prophet of Hud, were the first to receive the divine message. The Almighty Allah narrated the story in quite a number of passages, the first of which is the one cited in the chapter Surah Al-A'raf, where the Almighty Allah said, أعوذ بالله من الشيطان الرجيم وإلى عاد أخاهم هودا قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره ما لكم أفلا تتقون قال الملأ من قومي إنا لنراك في سفاهة وإنا لنظنك من الكاذبين قال يا قوم ليس بي سفاهة ولكني رسول من رب العالمين أبلغكم رسالة ربي وأنا لكم ناصح أمين أو عجبتم أن جاءكم ذكر من ربكم على رجل منكم لينذركم واذكروا إذ جعلكم خلفاء من بعد قوم نوح وزادكم في الخلق بسطة واذكروا آلاء الله لعلكم تفلحون. صدق الله العظيم. The Almighty Allah said, to the nation of Ad we dispatch their brother Hud. قال يا قوم اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره. When he approaches people with the message, he followed the same pattern of his ancestor, that's Prophet Noah, when he approached them. In fact, he used the same words that his ancestor used. Oh my people, worship the Almighty Allah, the one and only God worthy to be worshipped. For you don't have any other deity besides him. He is the only worthy, he is the only true God worthy of being worshipped. ما لكم من إله غيره. ما لكم من إله أفلا تتقون. Won't you exercise piety? Won't you be pious at least for once? Won't you take heed? أفلا تتقون. The reason why the prophets always approach their people with the first commandment, that is to worship the Almighty excuse me, to worship the Almighty Allah, besides whom there is no any other deity, because they always find them worshipping idols. So they need to be told that there is one and only God who created them and created the heavens and the earth for a purpose. He didn't do that just for amusement. No, there is a purpose for the kingdom of creation to be brought into existence. Nothing happened accidentally at all. If it were accidental, it would have been destructive. And nothing would have existed because things would have fallen apart. Things wouldn't have been in order if they occurred accidentally. They were brought for a purpose. And so are we. So if we are brought for a purpose, we need to be told what the purpose is. And the only one in a position to tell us the purpose of our creation is our Creator Himself. And there is virtually no way He can communicate to us. There is virtually no way we can receive His direct communication. at least when it comes to communication of this nature. The only way to communicate to us the purpose of our existence is by sending us prophets. The prophets have to be mortal because the recipient too are mortals. If they are supernatural creatures, there wouldn't have been any conformity between them and us. So communication would be very difficult. Ubudullah, worship Allah, ma lakum min ilahin, for you don't have any other deity, any deity besides him, subhanahu wa ta'ala. Afala tattaqun. So what was the immediate response of his people? In the same way, the message did not in any way differ from that of Prophet Noah, so was the response of his people. Did not differ from the response of the people of Prophet Noah. And so is the class of the respondents. The respondents happen to be from the elite class. قال الملأ من قومه, members of the elites. And the same is true of the case of Prophet Noah. He got his first response from the members of the elite class. قال الملأ من قومه, قال الملأ الذين كفروا من قومه. So can you see, the message was the same, the approach was equally the same, and so was the response also, and from the same class of people. قال الملأ من قومه إنا لنراك في سفاهة. Left to us, we will judge you as someone who shows a clear attitude of foolishness. أعوذ بالله. إنا لنراك في سفاهة. As someone who displays a clear attitude of foolishness. وإنا لنظنك من الكاذبين. And we think that in addition to foolishness, that is with regard to the veracity of your message, you are nothing but a liar. من الكاذبين. Did he get provoked? What was his response to this provoking attitude of his people? What did he say? He was still maintaining his cool. قال يا قوم ليس بي سفاهة ولكني رسول من رب العالمين. I have nothing to do with foolishness at all. My message has nothing whatsoever to do with foolishness. That is his response to their claim that he displayed an attitude of foolishness, was to deny the foolishness. ليس بي سفاهة. With regard to their accusation that he's a liar, what did he say? ولكني رسول من رب العالمين. إنا لنراك في سفاهة قال يا قوم ليس بي سفاهة وإنا نظنك من الكاذبين ولكني رسول من رب العالمين. Can you see? In fact, you can even count the number of the words. Very interesting engagement on the part of the Prophet, not on their part. I mean, his attitude to them was quite interesting. All he did was to respond to them in a very, in a manner that shows high sense of responsibility. وَلَكِنِّي رَسُولٌ مِّن رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. As for your accusation that I am a liar, no. I am nothing but an apostle. I am only one of the apostles dispatched by the Almighty Allah. I am an apostle from the Lord of the universe. The reason why most of the engagements between prophets and their people, when they come to refer to their mission and their message, they always refer to the Almighty as the Lord of the universe. Why? Because the space within which we exist constitutes only a tiny part of the universe. So if the creator and the holder of the universe is the one that dispatched this prophet addressing us, and we only occupy a very tiny space in the universe, yet the universe is in the hands of the Almighty Allah, and He dispenses in the universe the way He wants, then that is enough to send a clear warning to us that we should be very careful. وَلَكِنِّي رَسُولٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ. Instead of saying وَلَكِنِّي رَسُولٌ مِّنَ اللَّهِ, he said وَلَكِنِّي رَسُولٌ مِّن رَبِّ الْعَالَمِينَ. I am an apostle from the Lord of the universe. What was the content of the message? And how do I go about delivering the message? What is it expected of me? أُبَلِّغُكُمْ رِسَالَةَ رَبِّي أو رِسَالَاتِ رَبِّي. My primary assignment is to convey the message to you. مَا عَلَى الرَّسُولِ إِلَّا الْبَلَاغُ. My primary assignment is to convey the message, to convey and deliver the message to you. That is the message of my Lord. وَأَنَا لَكُمْ نَاصِحٌ أَمِينٌ. I am here to give you a very good counseling, and an honest one for that matter. And to be honest with you in counseling you. نَاصِحٌ أَمِينٌ. أَوْ عَجِبْتُمْ أَنْ جَاءَكُمْ ذِكْرٌ مِّن رَبِّكُمْ عَلَى رَجُلٍ مِّنْكُمْ لِيُنذِرَكُمْ. Are you rather surprised and astonished for the fact that a mortal like you, one of you, a human being like you, conveys a message to you from your Lord? What gave rise to this astonishment, or this surprise, or this amazement? Why? If we want to know what gave rise to all this, we need to consult other passages of the same holy book where this story was cited in an elaborate manner. For example, in the chapter Surah Al-Mu'minun, the Almighty Allah said, "A'udhu billahi minash shaitanir rajim. Summa ansha'na min ba'dihim qarnan akharin. فأرسلنا فيهم رسولا منهم أن اعبدوا الله ما لكم من إله غيره أفلا تتقون قال الملأ الذين كفروا من قومه ما هذا إلا بشر مثلكم يأكل مما تأكلون منه ويشرب مما تشربون ولئن أطعتم بشرا مثلكم إنكم إذا لخاسرون." صدق الله العظيم. The Almighty Allah said, after the destruction of the people of Prophet Noah, we dispatch another apostle to his people. That is prophethood to his people. Having delivered the message in the same way Prophet Noah did, the elite class of his people, قال الملأ من قومه, said, "Inna lanaraka ma haza illa basharun mislukum." This is nothing but a common mortal like you. يَأْكُلُ مِمَّا تَأْكُلُونَ مِنْهُ وَيَشْرَبُ مِمَّا تَشْرَبُونَ. He is a common human being like you who sustains his life with earthly food as well as sustaining his life with water. That's in the same way you do. You can see they were even more eloquent than the people of Prophet Noah, because the people of Prophet Noah made a general reference to his mortality as a ground on which they depend in rejecting the message. ما نراك إلا بشرا مثلنا وما هذا إلا بشر مثلكم يريد أن يتفضل عليكم. This is nothing but a common mortal like you. He only wanted to claim superiority over you. يريد أن يتفضل عليكم and no more. ولو شاء الله لأنزل ملائكة ما سمعنا بهذا في آبائنا الأولين. If the Almighty so will, if he so wished, he would have dispatched an angel to you, not human being. For them, human being is too inferior morally to speak in the name of God, to exercise the divine mandate, to be conferred with a mandate to speak in the name of God. That is, speak on behalf of the Almighty Allah. So, you can see they made no reference to the fact that Prophet Noah used to support his body with earthly food, or he used to drink water, and so on and so forth. They were not so explicit, they were not so eloquent in their reference. But in the case of the unbelievers of prophethood, they were very eloquent, they were very explicit, they itemized, in fact, they made reference to certain things that prove the mortality of the prophet. That is, يَأْكُلُ مِمَّا تَأْكُلُونَ مِنْهُ. He eats the way you do. وَيَشْرَبُ مِمَّا تَشْرَبُونَ. He drinks the way you do. So, وَلَئِنْ أَطَعْتُمْ بَشَرًا مِثْلَكُمْ إِنَّكُمْ إِذًا لَخَاسِرُونَ. If at all you make a mistake of following a mortal like you in the name of following the Almighty Allah, then that means you have lost it all. You have lost everything. أَيَئِدُكُمْ أَنَّكُمْ إِذَا مِتُّمْ وَكُنْتُمْ تُرَابًا وَإِذَامًا أَنَّكُمْ مُخْرَجُونَ هَيْهَاتَ هَيْهَاتَ لِمَا تُوعَدُونَ. Would he promise you, and all in vain, as they claim, then when you are eventually dead and turn into rotten bones, وَإِذَامًا إِذَا مِتُّ وَكُنْتُمْ تُرَابًا وَإِذَامًا, that when you are turned into dust after having turned into bones, وَإِذَامًا, أَيِدُكُمْ أَنَّكُمْ إِذَا مِتُّ وَكُنْتُمْ تُرَابًا وَإِذَامًا أَنَّكُمْ مُخْرَجُونَ, that you will be raised back to life once again, you will be resurrected once again. هَيْهَاتَ هَيْهَاتَ لِمَا تُوعَدُونَ. Never and never, this shall never happen. You will never be raised back to life when you are turned into rotten bones, into broken bones. In some places, izaman warufatan. So you can see, hayata limatuadu. Inni illa hayatuna dunya. So that is why when he said, Awa ajibtum an ja'akum dhikrum min rabbikum ala rajulin minkum liyundhirakum, it was a response to this very argument they raised in the chapter Surah Al-Mu'minun by saying, Ma za illa bashar mislukum ya'kulu mimma ta'kuluna minhu wa yashrabu mimma tashrabun wa la in ata'tum basharan mislakum innakum idhan la khasirun. When they said he is nothing but a common human being like you, he eats the way you do, he drinks the way you do. If you ever follow a mortal like you, then you have lost it all. بشرا مثلكم إنكم إذا لخاسرون. So because of this argument, our Egyptian is a response to this very argument. Our Egyptian, are you rather surprised? أن جاءكم ذكر من ربكم, that an admonition came down for you in the hands of a human being like you. أن جاءكم ذكر من ربكم على رجل منكم, a human being among you. So that you may warn you, لينذركم ولتتقوا ولعلكم, so that you may eventually take heed and exercise piety. ولعلكم تتقون. Is it astonishing for you to have an apostle sent to you, and such apostle sent to you a human being like you? Is this so surprising to you? Remember remember how the Almighty Allah appointed you as vicegerent after the destruction of the people of Prophet Noah. You are the first nation to be raised and receive a divine message. So you are the highest of the people of Prophet Noah. خلفاء من بعد قوم نوح وزادكم في الخلق بسطا, and the Almighty Allah increased you in size. That is that is, you are increased by size. That is the nature. That is the structure of your being is quite bigger than that of your predecessors who came before you. وَذَلِكُمْ فِي الْخَلْقِ بَسْطًا وَاذْكُرُوا آلَاءَ اللَّهِ لَعَلَّكُمْ. And remember, call to remembrance the divine favors that He endowed you, so that you may prosper. By remembering the favors, you will show gratitude. When you do, then you are automatically prosperous. The only way to prosper is to show gratitude to the Almighty. And you can only show gratitude by remembering such favors. I'm going to stop here, inshallah. When we come back in the next session, I'm going to continue exactly where we stop. Allahumma salli ala Sayyidina Muhammad al-Fatih lima ughliq wal-Khatim lima sabaq nasir al-haqq bil-haqq wal-hadi ila siratikal mustaqim wa ala alihi haqqa qadri min-dar al-azim sirata alladhina anta subhana rabbika wa alhamdulillah. Assalamu alaikum. Yau kan gara mu yi tausayin ma'aikin ne ya daɗe.